news before I go further into the deeper into this video. I mean, pretty much the video. I've decided to continue with the audio drama, like I said earlier. If you have not seen the previous video, go check it out. And if you're interested to go for, I'm trying to look for a new Dr. and Dipper. So if you want to be either characters or both, go to the previous video and yeah, send me an audition as a video response to that video, and that's pretty much all I have to say about that. Anywho, I figured since, you know, I figured what the hell, I'd talk about 2 other audio drama projects that I actually, well, technically 3 audio drama projects that I thought about doing, but I kind of can't, I decided not to because they were a little too ambitious. And anyway, here we go. So kicking things off is one called I wanted to call I, Megatron. I, Megatron was an audio Transformers audio drama that I thought about doing that focused on Megatron in the Prime universe. Yes, I know I'm using an image of the G1 Megatron. Leave me alone. But yeah, it was supposed to be in Transformers Prime continuity. It would follow Megatron from the gladiator pits of Kaon to his rise to becoming Megatron, and, you know, the beginning of the Decepticon Autobot war. That was supposed to be the story right there. And it would focus on Megatron meeting Orion Pax before he was Optimus Prime, befriending him, and as well as going to focus on Starscream. You know, for those who don't know, Starscream was an Autobot before he was a Decepticon. He was not only a very powerful air commander, but also a scientist. And this would delve into the beginning of, you know, Starscream, not Megatron, would discover dark energy. Like, he's experimenting with dark energon. Like, he found it, but he wants to go further into it. He and Shockwave, he gets the assistance from Shockwave, and the both of them are trying to understand dark energon, but the Autobot High Council is like, no, this is forbidden. So he thinks rallying to, and you have to understand, the Autobot High Council was very corrupt, and in most continuities, and that would be that's the continuity of Prime as well, is that the Autobot High Council was pretty much kind of corrupt. So this would also follow how Megatron met Soundwave, as well as almost called her Black Arachnid, Arachnid, as well as Knockout and Breakdown, and several other Decepticons. You know, I was gonna have cameos of Lugnut, Blitzwing, Skywarp, and Thundercracker. A lot of Decepticons and Autobots in this series. It's supposed to be like a Transformer version of Spartacus. So, yeah, that was pretty much the story. But like I said, it was a little too ambitious, so many characters, and so much I needed to do that I decided not to undertake the project. But who knows, maybe I'll revisit this in the very far future. Like, maybe next year future. If, you know, I ever decide to come back to this project. But yeah, that was just a brief synopsis on I, Megatron. So the other 2 are Doctor Who audio dramas. Go figure! So, the next 2, like I said, are Doctor Who audio dramas. The first being one called Schism of the Cybermen. Schism of the Cybermen was actually a story I wrote a long time ago when I first started to get into Doctor Who. And Schism of the Cybermen, the story plot was this is supposed to focus on the 10th Doctor and Donna. The Doctor and Donna find themselves on Talos, which is callback to Tomb of the Cybermen, and Talos has basically been abandoned by the Cybermen. What they think that it's been abandoned by the Cybermen. It's not their home world, but they had a home base there, more or less. And they think it's been abandoned by the Cybermen, but they get this weird distress signal that the Doctor is interested in locating because he thinks it's a research team similar to the one he met, similar to the ones he encountered while on in the episode Tomb of the Cybermen. And he does discover that there was a research team there that were part of the same group, that were kind of on the same mission as the first group in Tomb of the Cybermen, but they've all been killed. And the Troughton era Cybermen are there. What I mean, like the Cybermen from Tomb of the Cybermen and Moonbase. So the Doctor and Donna encounter the classic Cybermen, but also discover they're the last of their model. They're more or less the last of their model, and they're trying to hide out and survive against a battle with the Russell T Davies era Cybermen. So it's the classic models versus the new models, and they're forcing the Doctor to help them or they'll kill Donna. So that was the story in general. And this was not a crossover audio drama. This was supposed to be a straight-up Doctor Who audio drama, and I was really going to the story did delve into, like, the whole new technology versus old technology. In fact, I wrote a scene, and again, this was never made into a script, but it was a story I wrote. And it was a scene where the Doctor is talking to one of the Cybermen, the Davies-era Cybermen, and he tells him, you know, one day you're going to be the classic model. Doesn't that just scare you? I'm paraphrasing, of course, but it's a little longer, but that's basically what he says. So, that's just a little bit about Schism of the Cybermen. It was kind of like, that's the idea I had for Schism of the Cybermen. I thought it'd be so cool to have, you know, the classic version meet the new version. And now we're getting an even newer version very soon, written by Neil Gaiman. Yay! So, that's just a little bit about Schism of the Cybermen, and if I ever, which I probably won't do this as an audio drama, but if I ever did, I would still have it as 10th Doctor and Donna, and as well as, you know, classic Cybermen versus the new Cybermen. I always thought that'd be cool. So that's just a little bit about Schism of the Cybermen. The next one is a Doctor Who crossover with with The Simpsons. Now, hear me out. I was young. I thought about this for 2 seconds, and then I went, nah. Actually, it's weird, too, because I thought it out in my head, but then I no, I don't want to do this, because it's a little too weird. With Doctor Who and Gravity Falls, it makes a lot more sense. But with Doctor Who and The Simpsons, I might turn this into a story. I might write this as a fanfiction, but probably never. But it was just a fun little idea that that's all it was. It was a fun idea. Unlike Schism of the Cybermen, which I wrote as a story and thought, I want to do this as an audio drama. And Schism of the Cybermen has a better chance of becoming an audio drama in the future than out of all of them. But this one was called the Cybermen of Springfield. As much as I love the Daleks, these two just involve the Cybermen. So yes, the Cybermen were like in the other one, the Cybermen are the main villain in the story, the Cybermen of Springfield. So this story pretty much follows the sorry, I just had a total brain fart there. But the story follows the 11th Doctor, Matt Smith era Doctor, coming to Springfield totally on accident because he wanted to have. Amy and Rory are on a date and they didn't want to be bothered by the Doctor. So he's alone and he decides, well, I've got nothing better to do. There's a cool festival planet I can go check out. However, the TARDIS doesn't even take him off Earth and he ends up in Springfield and he's like, what? However, there's a carnival in Springfield, and the TARDIS has landed right outside, right next to the porta potties of the Springfield Carnival. So the Doctor's like, oh, well, I've got nothing better to do, so I'll just check out one of these human carnivals. Nothing dangerous can happen there. In comes Homer Simpson, who is completely drunk and mistakes the Doctor's TARDIS as a porta potty. He stumbles in there. The Doctor forgot to lock the TARDIS, and Homer stumbles in there, throws up all over the ground of the TARDIS, and in comes the Doctor back after getting some cotton candy, and he encounters a very drunk. He doesn't even notice that that Homer has passed out under the TARDIS console. All he knows is the throw up there, and he's like, oh, he's having a shit fit over it. And he meets Homer and the Doctor. But while this is going on, something is going on in the power plant. Something's going on there that some workers are being quote unquote promoted, and it turns out that Mr. Burns has allied himself with the Cybermen. Now hold up. Yes, I know. Cybermen rules are Cybermen's two main big weaknesses are gold and radiation, and Mr. Burns has a lot of that. But the story was that Mr. Burns is helping to upgrade the Cybermen and give them a have no weaknesses. Basically, they can stay outside of radiation as well as gold. They can survive against gold as well. And the Cybermen are also constructing a thing they only call the Cyber God. So This was, like I said, Homer and the Doctor get caught up in this plot, and it's just Homer and the whole Simpsons family doesn't get involved, but it's just Homer and the Doctor who are trying to figure out what's going on while they meet. Of course, the Doctor meets the Simpsons family. He goes to Moe's Tavern, gets drunk at Moe's Tavern, and encounters basically all these little cameos of all the other different characters. But it was just, the story was that Homer and the Doctor fighting Cybermen, because I thought it would be too damn funny. But like I said, this never got even a script. It was just one little thought that popped up in my head, and I thought it all out, and it was weird. But, yeah. And plus, it sounded a little too close to home to the David Tennant story, The Next Doctor. So that's another reason why I don't want to do it, because it sounded a little too... I did base it a little too much on The Next Doctor. But, yeah, that's pretty much it for those three. I did have a few others in my head, but they never really, I never really had a set idea for them. It's not like... These three, unlike the Doctor Who Gravity Falls audio drama that I'm doing, never really got to script form. They were just ideas that were either too ambitious or just for shits and giggles that I just thought of out of hilarity in it just for fun. There was the word I'm looking for, just for fun. Although I, Megatron, like I said, is a little too overambitious. Out of all three, now that I think about the three, out of these three, if I could go back and pick one to do another project after Adventure Time and Batman, the Batman Adventure Time one, which, yes, that's still a project that's going on. So, I hope you guys continue with that. Anywho, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the one I definitely pick is Schism of the Cybermen. That would be just a straight-up Doctor Who audio drama. Anywho, although I may also do a straight-up Gravity Falls audio drama as well, since I still have very reliable cast, although I still need a Dipper for that. Although people have told me I could just play Dipper at this point. But that's a discussion for another time. Anywho, hope you guys enjoyed this, and yeah, I'm out.